the top 10 head coaches in the Big Ten. I'm going to go in order of 1 to 10. Usually I like to go in order of 10 to 1, but we all know who the top coaches in the Big Ten are, and I don't want to bury the lead, so I'm just going to start 1 to 10. Number 1, Curt Cignetti at Indiana. Any objections? I'll pause for a second and I'll listen. If there are any objections, I'll listen. Okay, I don't hear anything. So Curt Cignetti is at number 1. Obvious reasons. He won a national championship in Indiana. He went 16-0. He did the unthinkable at a program that was the second losingest all-time program in the history of college football. And not only did he go 16-0, he won the Big Ten, which had never been done before in Indiana's history. He won the national championship, which certainly never been done in Indiana's history. And he just bludgeoned teams on the way to doing it. It was Indiana in the field, and that was really no surprise. So Curt Cignetti is my number 1 head coach in the Big Ten. Number 2, and I've heard some people's lists when they ranked head coaches in the Big Ten, they have this guy number 1. I'm okay with it if you do, but Curt Cignetti is my clear-cut choice. Ryan Day is at number 2 at Ohio State. Won the national championship in 2024. He has the best active winning percentage among head coaches in college football at 87.5. He has an overall record of 82-12. Ryan Day is the active leader in winning percentage in college football among qualifying head coaches. He was one of those guys where people, naysayers, kept saying that he could never win the big one until he won the big one in 2024. And now that discourse has moved to the next guy, which I'm going to bring up, and that is Dan Lanning at Oregon. Dan Lanning is my 3rd ranked head coach in the Big Ten, an overall record of 48-8. And I think it's 3 or 4 years. I'm not good at doing quick math on the air, but he only has 8 losses as a head coach at Oregon. Very impressive. He won the Big Ten. And Oregon's first year being a part of the conference in 2024, I was at the game. They beat Penn State, and they did it, at least for the most part, pretty handedly. Now, Penn State did make it a game towards the end, but Oregon won the Big Ten that year. They were undefeated. They had a first-round bye in the college football playoff. We all know what happened when they played Ohio State in the Rose Bowl, because Ohio State won the national championship in 2024, and it was a bloodbath. It was a bloodbath, but still, he has an impressive resume. 2 college football playoff appearances, made it to the semifinals this year, lost to the defending national champs, Indiana. I am sensing a theme here with Oregon. They've made it to the college football playoff the last 2 years, but lost to the defending national championship team, which, by the way, that team came from their own conference. Dan Lanning is one of the most elite recruiters in college football. Oregon will win a national championship under Dan Lanning at some point. And I apologize because I'm in my home studio and it appears the fire alarm has went off. So I apologize about that if you were wondering where that beeping sound was coming from. Okay, where was I? Oregon, I believe, will win a national championship under Dan Lanning at some point. It just hasn't happened yet. So they said the same thing about Ryan Day not being able to win the big one, and now they're saying the same thing about Dan Lanning. What I love most about the way that the roster has been constructed out in Eugene under Dan Lanning, they are built like a Big Ten team when it comes to the trenches. Oregon's really always had the speed, but the speed seems a little bit different now. It's speed similar to what you used to see in the SEC, and you can still see in the SEC if I'm being honest. So they're built like a Big Ten/SEC team out west. So Dan Lanning has done a great job constructing the roster. Number 4, this was a close call. This was a really close call, but I decided to lean Kyle Whittingham of Michigan at number 4. He has an overall head coaching record of 177-88. He's been a college football head coach basically since the New Testament. He was at Utah, got kind of forced out the door, and now he's at Michigan, When that whole Sharon Moore thing went down, they hired Kyle Whittingham, which honestly I think is the right person to bring into your program when Michigan needs stability the most. He has 11-6 record in bowl games all time. He is an elite developer of talent. So a little bit different than a recruiter, but he still recruits really well out at Utah. But not only does he take three stars, low 4 stars, but he develops them into first round NFL talents. We saw that this past year as Utah's left tackle and right tackle were both first round picks in the 2026 NFL draft. Number 5, I have Kirk Ferentz at Iowa. Kirk Ferentz has established a model of consistency leading that Hawkeye program. Overall record of 221, 149 is 11-11 all-time in bowl games. He has a couple Rose Bowl appearances in there. But when I mention Iowa football to you, there is really a couple of things that come to mind, and that doesn't really change on a year-to-year basis. They play really good defense. They have a great offensive line, and they run the football very well. Not really known for being explosive on offense, but always have a really good defense. Again, Iowa may not be one of your traditional blue bloods in college football. They may not be in that elite top tier of the sport, but they're consistent, and Kirk Ferentz has established a model of consistency over there in Iowa. At number 6, this is one of the guys that we talked about a lot on the last show. This is a very Big Ten heavy week with Big Ten Media Days. They just wrapped up in Chicago today. I have Matt Campbell at Penn State. Was at Iowa State for the last decade or so. I read what he's accomplished in Ames, and I'm going to read it again just in case you happen to be joining us and weren't with us for the last show. At Iowa State, Matt Campbell won 72 games, made 8 bowl appearances, and finished ranked in the top 15 twice. Again, we're talking about Iowa State football. Iowa State is not talent rich. They don't have a rich history in college football, but yet Matt Campbell was able to accomplish something that had never been done before, and a lot of people really didn't think that could be accomplished at a place like Iowa State, yet he was able to do so. He finished above 500 in the Big 12 8 times prior to Matt Campbell at Iowa State. The Cyclones had only finished above 500 in the Big 12 twice. If you need me to repeat that stat, I will. So Matt Campbell at Iowa State, they finished above 500 in the Big 12 8 times. Prior to Matt Campbell arriving to Ames, Iowa State had only finished above 500 in the Big 12 or whatever conference they were in twice. So that just shows you how great of a job Matt Campbell did leading Iowa State. This year at Penn State, it's basically Iowa State. That's basically Penn State this year. They imported Iowa State's roster over to Happy Valley. 24 transfers from Iowa State, 12 projected starters. When you watch Penn State this year, it's basically Iowa State's team from last year. So I have Matt Campbell at Penn State at number 6 in my head coaching rankings. At number 7, this is a guy that it seems like if you mention his name, it's either well received or people like to trash him. That is Lincoln Riley at USC. I have him at number 7. Lincoln Riley, as a head coach, pretty good record, 90-28. But then you look at his bowl record, and then you look at what he's done in the college football playoff. He's 3-5 in bowl games. He's 0-3 in the college football playoff. Now, remember, prior to USC, Lincoln Riley was at Oklahoma. Made the college football playoff 3 times, and they did not make it past the semifinal round. This would have been in the era of the 4-team college football playoff. At Oklahoma, 4 Big 12 championships. What's really cost Lincoln Riley an opportunity to maybe climb higher on this list is the bad hires that he's made defensively. He hired bad at Oklahoma, too, on the defensive side of the ball. You've never really had to worry about an offense under Lincoln Riley. But defensively, their defensive coordinator was Alex Grinch. Lincoln Riley brought Alex Grinch over to USC. It didn't work out, and that was a couple years into his stint with the Trojans. And then he tried to correct that move, and he brought in D'Anton Lynn from UCLA. D'Anton Lynn is now with Matt Campbell, ironically, at Penn State. But the defense continued to get better under D'Anton Lynn, and now they have Gary Patterson at defensive coordinator. So Lincoln Riley has had ample time to get things right on the defensive side of the ball. Now, if that can pair with Lincoln Riley traditional offenses, you have something brewing. And like I mentioned on the last show, it is playoff or bust for USC this year under Lincoln Riley. So I have him at number 7 on the list. At number 8, we don't talk about this guy a whole lot. I feel like we should. Maybe he's one of the more underrated coaches in the country, which I happen to think he is. Brett Bielema at Illinois, an overall record as a head coach. Now, remember, Brett Bielema has had 3 different stints as a head coach. He was the head coach at Wisconsin. He was the head coach at Arkansas. And he was also, he still is the head coach at Illinois. So 3 different stops for Brett Bielema. An overall head coaching record of 134-84. He had 3 Big Ten titles at Wisconsin. He has 19 wins the last 2 seasons at Illinois, which we're seeing a lot of coaches on this list who have done more with less, because Illinois is another one of those teams, another one of those programs that just doesn't have a rich history in football. I see Illinois as more of a basketball school, but heck, I also saw Indiana as more of a basketball school, and we see where that got us. Brett Bielema has done a great job at Illinois, and not only has he won on the field, but he's recruiting well, not just in high school, but in the portal. Brett Bielema has done a great job at Illinois, so I have Brett Bielema at number 8. At number 9, never coached in the Power 4 before, but yet he is on the list here. I have Bob Chesney from UCLA at number 9. I trust Bob Chesney implicitly, and I think that he's going to do a great job with UCLA turning them around. Listen to what this guy's done. He's been a head coach for 16 seasons. He's had 1 losing season in those 16 years. He has 15 winning seasons. He worked his way up the ranks, the more traditional route, right? Started at Division III, Division II, Division I FCS. Got an opportunity with James Madison, who had made the transition to FBS, and is now in the Power 4. But not only is he in the Power 4, he's in the Big Ten, which I consider the best conference in college football as it stands right now. And they're certainly a top 2 conference in college football. So I have Bob Chesney at number 9. He made a college football playoff appearance with James Madison last year. And yes, a guy that has never coached in the Power 4 is already a top 10 head coach in the Big Ten, at least according to me. Number 10, this is where I really struggled, because I could go a variety of ways. I could go Jedd Fisch at Washington. I could go Matt Rhule at Nebraska. I could go Pat Fitzgerald at Michigan State. There are a lot of names that I could have put at this number 10 spot. I decided to go a different route. I went with PJ Fleck at number 10. PJ Fleck from Minnesota. This guy has he's flown under the radar, but prior to Minnesota, he was at Western Michigan. In 2016, he made the Cotton Bowl with Western Michigan. That's when they played Wisconsin, and they actually had a chance to win it. That was the team that had Corey Davis. Corey Davis was a top 5 draft pick that year in the NFL draft. An overall head coaching record of 96-66. So I talked about how I had Minnesota as a dark horse in the Big Ten this year. And if they're a dark horse, it appears that PJ Fleck only needs 4 more wins to get to the 100-win mark. I certainly think they're going to do that this year. So just to recap the list, my top 10 head coaches in the Big Ten. Curt Cignetti at Indiana, number 1. Ryan Day at Ohio State, number 2. Dan Lanning at Oregon, number 3. Kyle Whittingham at Michigan, number 4. Kirk Ferentz at Iowa at number 5. Matt Campbell from Penn State at number 6. Lincoln Riley from USC at number 7, Brett Bielema from Illinois at number 8, Bob Chesney from UCLA at number 9, and PJ Fleck from Minnesota at number 10.